page. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment as well. This is Math with Big Bang. So guys, we have Econ 103 test question for 2019-2020 section. So be solved here with us. The question has we have two questions here actually. Number one has A, B. Number two actually has both A and B. All right. So the first question says, with one example each, distinguish between explicit and implicit function. So we are asked to distinguish between explicit and implicit function. So here we'll be, demonstrating the explicit function. Okay. Now you see, from the word explicit, it means something that is very clear and well stated, without any complication or mix-up. So for explicit, it is being written separately. So for the examples, on both sides, we can have number one, we can have it as y is equals to x squared. This guy here is an example of explicit function, in differentiation. This is an example of explicit function. So secondly too, we can also have, for instance, we have y is equal to s cubed, let's say plus 2x squared and plus 5. So guys, this guy here also, these two guys here are examples of explicit function. Now, why are these guys explicit? Now let me explain something. You see, we have dependent variable on one side, independent variable on the other side. The only difference here is this, that they do not mix together. Like, we don't have x and y mixed together or x, y, z on one part. They are being separated. Okay, y here on one side, x on one side. It could be solved directly, probably using the power function. Now, for instance, let's solve this number 2 using the power function. Here, I have the y here divided by the x. This guy would give me 3x here with the power of 2 plus, here would give me 4x, then plus 0. This 5 does not contain x, so and we are differentiating with respect to x, so therefore the 5 here is 0 as a constant. So my final answer for this first one becomes the y over the x here is now equal to 3x squared plus 4x. So this is my answer for the first explicit example. So now when we come to implicit actually has to do with mix-up of variables. Implicit has to do with mix-up of what? Of variable. So, now for instance, one example here we can give out for implicit is, for instance, we have y squared plus x squared, let's say, is equal to 25. So guys, you see here on one side we have both x and y mixed together, which is equals to 25. So now, this guy is an example of implicit differentiation. Also, for instance, we can have, let's say, 2xy squared, then plus 3x squared is equals to 5, for instance. This is also an example of implicit differentiation, actually, because we have both x and y mixed up together. Now I would want to solve the first one. This is example 1 and this is example 2. Now let me solve the first one. The first one says, let's solve example 1 now. Solution for the first one we give, let's say the first one now is y squared plus x squared is equal to 25, guys. Now how do we solve this one using implicit? By the formula for implicit differentiation, we have it as the y over the x is equals to minus f of x and fy in this way. Now we have, from this very place, now we have y squared here plus x squared. We can have it to be minus 25 is equal to 0. Now if I'm differentiating this very equation now with respect to x, to obtain my f of x now let's say I want to obtain my fx from this equation. If you discover now y squared here should be constant, okay, because it does not contain x. Minus 25 actually would be 0. So I'm differentiating only this x squared which will definitely give me 2x. Now, secondly, if I'm to differentiate fy, fy definitely with respect to y, this guy is 0, this guy is 0 because they do not contain y. So I have only y squared, which will definitely give me 2y. Now, from this very formula of implicit, this is the formula, the y over the x, which is equal to minus f of x over f of y. My answer will become the y over the x, which is equals to minus 2x over 2y. Then 2 cancel 2, finally my answer is minus x all over y, which is my answer. Alright guys, so this is just solution to question 1 for Econ 103. To distinguish between explicit and implicit with example. Explicit, they are being separated, with variables y on one side, x on one side. You can just differentiate using power rule. But when we come to implicit, for instance, here the variables are being mixed up. Okay, so and this is just the formula to solve using implicit. So I hope this guy meets you very well. So let's look forward to question number 1b this time around.